Welcome to 3 Pages In.
My name's Eden.
I'm Chloe.
And I'm Macy.
Yay, you guys. This episode is very kind of January-esque.
Yeah.
Yes.
At least by the title.
Yeah.
The ambiance, it's snowing outside.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're all wearing blue. Well, Chloe
I had a
was.
blue jacket. Yeah. Well, I had blue jeans.
Yeah. True.
Yeah, very, I don't know, representative of our book club book for January.
Yes.
Oh, I guess technically now it's February, huh?
Oh, yeah, now it is.
Yeah.
You're right.
But we're recapping our January
Yeah,
book,
we are.
which you should know because you read, right, you guys?
Hopefully.
Right?
This is spoiler warning now.
Yeah. Obviously,
True.
you'll know we're going to be talking about the whole entire book. So,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I am super excited to get into it. But before we do you guys have any updates? Actually, no. I want to ask, how are you guys doing with Onyx Storm? We're recording this the week that the book has come out.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it's only been out for a couple days.
Yeah. Good. I'm only halfway, but
Same.
it's good.
I actually haven't started.
That's okay.
But because I need to be in like the right state of mind to start it.
Totally.
Yeah, I was like, I need to finish our book club book, Blue Sisters, that we're talking about today
Yes.
before I let myself start. So.
Exactly.
I did not do that, but yeah, I don't know. It's been a slow start.
No, don't tell me that. Guys,
And
I
no
don't.
spoilers for the book.
No, none at all.
I like it.
Oh no.
Somehow, though, it's just kind of similar from my experience with Iron Flame, I feel.
Mm-hmm.
It was a little bit repetitive. And you'll get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Rebecca has said this going into this third book, that the main character, like, has one goal. And I feel like so far, it's just been something towards that goal and then go back. Then something towards that goal in a different place and go back. And I'm just like, this is, I don't know.
Oh no, I'm nervous.
I enjoy it because I like the characters and I like the vibe.
No, yeah.
But I don't know.
That's good to know for expectations.
But I have been seeing people like lose their mind at the end. I don't
Same.
know if you guys have been
Same.
saying that.
No.
Like, people like sobbing.
Yes.
People
Same.
like shutting the book and be like, what the heck just happened?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know. That's I'm like, okay.
I told you my theory, right? Earlier.
What?
No.
This isn't like obviously I haven't read it, so I don't know how it could be a spoiler. But I told you, like, what if like someone huge dies?
Oh, no, maybe we did talk
Well,
about that a while ago.
Rebecca mentioned
Rebecca
that-
mentioned a character we love will not make it
and
to the
part of me,
next book.
I said this. I don't know if I said this when it was coming out, when we all hung out or whatever. But I was like, guys, what if Xaden dies? That's literally what I thought.
Well,
There's
the
no
playlist that
shot.
she
But I was
released,
like, how?
the playlist that she released, it said "Bury a Friend."
Yeah,
We
but
know.
part of me is like, how is he dying? Because
No.
then she would die. Like,
Yeah.
well,
There'd be no way.
the dragons actually wouldn't die, right? If the dragon dies, the
That's
person
the
dies. But the dragon can
Oh.
live without the human.
Oh, you're
Not
right.
Taryn, though.
But why is Violet's not dying?
I know, but I'm saying that's why they always say their lives are connected, because if Violet dies, then
Because
all
he's
of
had
them
so
die.
many.
Yes.
Okay, but I'm
Yes.
saying Xaden could die and Sigale could live and
Yes.
Taryn could live and
Yes. Yeah.
So like it's possible. Anyways, I don't know. Did
hope
we just
that's not the
spoil
case.
Fourth Wing? Sorry.
Chloe's just a genius.
No, I'm saying the first book. I mean, you would learn anyway.
No.
Ignore me. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways,
No, yeah, no, I can't wait to start it.
It was my goal to finish it by today.
really?
Have you?
Oh no, I'm like halfway done,
Oh.
and I literally, I thought I would be way more into it than I am now, because both Fourth Wing and Iron Flame I finished in like 4 or 5 days, and so I was like, oh, that'll be the same. I haven't felt the same way about the book, but that's okay.
Okay, well, I'm excited when I start reading it and we can talk, because
Yeah.
now I'm nervous. But on a different note, I have like an hour left listening to The Last Magnolia Parks. I've never been so like addicted to something. Like literally, I'm like, I never listen to anything at work. Oh my gosh, no one at my work listens to this, but I literally spent like an hour, like I really ended up doing nothing because I was just listening to
That's
it.
so funny.
And I was like, this is so freaking good. But yeah, that's all I'll say.
So good. That one's a good one too. It's
So
sad.
good. It's so good. I'm so glad it's long so that it like
Yeah.
won't end,
That
because
one-
who
is it
knows
like
when Daisy hates
500 something pages, or is it longer than that?
It's longer. If it's in the 500s, it's like almost 600, but I
Yeah.
think it's 600.
Oh, good book.
I love it.
Very good book. Well, should we dive into what's what the episode is about?
Yeah.
Blue Sisters. Yay.
We're
Let's-
rebranding. That's actually our new podcast.
Yeah, welcome.
name.
Oh my gosh.
to the Blue Sisters. Let's start with our reviewing
predictions?
what we thought based on our first 3 pages that we read.
Ooh, yeah.
I said the sisters will reconnect.
Wow.
That's probably the most obvious thing you read the back of the book. But, and I will say that came true. Like,
it did.
Yeah, totally.
yeah. I also said that I was excited about the writing, which I felt that way throughout the whole book. The way that she would explain things, I did enjoy it. And the way she like made comparisons of the sisters and their relationships and stuff like that. Even the relationship with their mom too. I like the writing and how she did that.
Yeah, I had a similar like prediction. Well, my prediction was that I guessed it was the youngest sister who dies, which was not true. Lucky is the youngest sister. Nikki is the third because her and Lucky were close. And then I said like I loved the beginning explanation of sisterhood and friends. And I think I said this in the episode that I thought that it was going to have really good writing throughout, which I think she had like really good quotes throughout, but I wasn't like in love with her writing, if that makes sense.
Totally.
Like I think she like explained certain things really well. And there were, now that you guys recently talked about highlighting stuff in your Kindle, I started doing that. And I was like, there were good quotes, but the writing as a whole, I was not in love with.
My prediction was that it was going to be sad, but move along quickly.
I don't know what you thought.
Could not be farther from the truth. Well, it is sad. That that was
sad
right.
check.
It's
Move
sad.
along quickly?
Yes. Move along quickly. Just about the complete opposite.
Yeah.
You guys, it took me like 2 weeks I listened to it, to listen to the first like 70% of it. Like literally 2 weeks.
took me
and then
so long.
like 3 days to finish the rest of it. But like it, oh my gosh, it like was one of the slowest movie books I've read
It
in a
was
really
pretty
long
slow.
time.
Same.
In a really long time.
That's not necessarily a bad thing. It depends on what you like.
It fits the story for sure.
And for this one, like reading it, I don't know. I kind of felt like going into it, I had a different expectation
Same.
of the plot.
For sure.
Same.
There is
Yep.
very little plot in
yes.
this book. Definitely.
Hardly
It's
any.
all character driven.
People say this all the time. Like, this book is a character study. And that is true about this
it
book.
really was a character study.
Because
literally.
it really is about what makes these people them and like why are they acting the way they are. Let me explain why. And then but they don't, there's not a ton that happens.
There's
gosh,
really
no.
no plot.
Like I remember reading the back of the book. It's like, oh, they're all coming together to like go through this apartment. That didn't happen until 60% of the way
Yep.
through the
No,
book.
that's what I'm telling you.
I was like,
Like-
why am I getting so much background? I was like,
Yeah.
just these individual lives. I was like, when are they literally getting together?
Yeah.
But I will say, I think it could be a good TV series because of like how intense some of the themes are and just like kind of their lives. Like
could
if you
totally
really
see
attach
that.
onto characters, I was like,
Yeah,
dude,
well-
I could totally put this
And like
on.
it was definitely like I did enjoy learning more about like getting deep into each specific sister and like
Yeah.
their backstories, but I would have probably liked more of them together. That's why I
Yes.
thought it was going to be more
Same.
like
Well-
they did tell stories of their past,
but like the synopsis literally
Yeah.
makes it sound like that. So I think that's why we had that expectation, which is a little misleading, but whatever.
My last prediction was that some of them are really going to annoy me at first. And they did.
oh my gosh.
They did.
That is one thing that I wanted to talk about is
Okay.
they all pissed me off
Yeah.
at times.
For
Their
sure.
decisions, I'm like, are you stupid for so long?
Okay, also, obviously, like, spoiler, we already said that, but, like, the way that some of them ended up, and I'm talking about you, Bonnie, her ending up with her trainer.
Pavel, yeah.
I'm like,
I mean,
wait.
Chitty with her therapist, kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
But I'm
yes,
like,
and
what?
Actually, totally.
It's literally the same thing.
No,
and it happened
Big
throughout the
age
whole-
gap.
I'm
yeah.
like,
age gap,
Like, am I
authority
am I supposed
levels.
to root
Because
for
they
this
have daddy
relationship?
issues.
Oh, yeah.
That's why.
Yeah.
Okay, I have so,
Wait,
I have
what?
so many thoughts.
Should we talk about what we rated the book?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before we
really
break it down.
dive deep. I rated it a 3.5. I think I would have given it a 4 if it wasn't so gosh dang slow.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the last third,
yeah, I did too.
but that alone was not enough for me to give it a 4 by any means. I even thought about giving it a 3, but I decided a 3.5 because of the last third of the book. I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was what I rated it.
I gave it a 2.75.
Whoa.
And I rated it shows well, actually I don't even know if I put it in on Goodreads yet. But yeah, 2.75, which is still greater than the half mark, mind you. It just was like, I have a lot of thoughts on it. It was good. Like, it was over the half mark where I enjoyed some of the quotes and like learning about some of the characters, but I just didn't love the storyline, and I didn't fall in love with any of the characters or their like relationships throughout, that I just, it like nothing hooked me enough to be like, this is like above a 3-star at all.
That was their relationship is my favorite part of the book.
Same.
Because
With each other as sisters, or
Yeah.
their romantic relationships?
no, with
Yeah.
their sister relationships. Like, there's some things that I'll
Same.
talk about that I highlighted. Like, definitely, like, I'm like, oh my gosh, true. But I gave it a 3.25 because I didn't know what to give it. I put that in Goodreads, and like, that's what it is for now. Someday it might change, maybe, but
Yeah.
it's a 3, and like, it's right around between like 3 to a 3.5. So that's why I put that. Anyway.
yeah.
Okay, yay.
What specifically about the relationships did you like? Like, what were your favorite sister relationships?
Ooh, that's hard. I
Not Avery and Lucky.
No.
oh my gosh.
Sometimes I was like, y'all gotta chill.
Yes.
And what I like too is like, they would fight, and then in Avery's mind be like, we are like the same person. I'm like, and I like how they would reflect on that, be like, we fight all the time, but like, we're fighting with
'cause they're
ourselves
so
pretty much.
similar.
Yeah.
And Bonnie too, in her mind, they'd be like, I don't know why they're fighting, they're like literally doing the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Which is funny. But I think, I mean, does Nikki count? I don't really think Nikki counts.
No.
I would probably say Bonnie and Lucky
That's
was
what
my
I was gonna
favorite.
say.
I liked Bonnie and Lucky. Yeah, definitely not Avery and Lucky. But it's so interesting, and I just want to say this before diving into, like, it was really fun reading because I have 2 sisters, and I related so much to their sibling dynamic and sister dynamic. So like, Avery and Lucky didn't love their relationship, but I'm like, is that me and Anna sometimes? Yeah, even though she's like my best friend. But
Yeah. Because
Interesting.
with that, like, I mean, one of my things I highlighted was when I believe Lucky is telling this story, or it's like not always not telling the story, but it's in, I think it's a Lucky chapter. I'm not exactly sure. It is. And she's talking about the time when her and Nikki got in a big fight. I don't remember exactly what it was about, but that they
About
went
her
to
sorority
celebrate.
sisters.
Was it about that?
Yeah.
They went to celebrate Nikki's graduation or something. They went to a dinner, and she's talking about how like, the next night their parents had plans to take them all out to dinner to celebrate, but Nikki told them she was never speaking to Lucky again. And she said, okay. Their mother said, but the reservation is for 7 p.m. So can you stop speaking to her after that? And then says they ended up splitting dessert. And it's like that where like literally you want to kill your sibling. You're like, I'm so annoyed with you. Like you make me so upset. And then an hour later you're like playing a game together. Or,
Yeah,
like,
literally.
Or have you seen those TikToks where it's like you're in a fight, but you're at Starbucks, so you still get them a drink or whatever? And it's like, yes, like that.
Totally. And it's like everyone can relate to that, whether you have brothers or sisters.
Totally.
Or like,
totally.
100%.
which I loved that.
Yeah. What were your favorite relationships?
I would probably say the same. Although, okay, maybe this is kind of diving into something else, but I super identified with Avery.
I was gonna say the
As an
same
oldest
thing.
sister?
Yes.
I was like, wow, I am
Like,
Avery.
literally
Minus
so many
being
times
a
too.
lesbian and addicted to drugs.
Yes, yeah.
And a lawyer.
Yeah, so like her
But
being
you were Avery to a T.
But no, like, so like all of her relationships, like Avery with like Bonnie and Lucky, I was like, I can see myself in that. I'm like, that is like, wow, it like caused me to reflect a little bit. I was like, ooh, I totally get on my siblings all the time.
Same.
Yeah.
Like all the
Correcting
time.
them. Like,
Yes. Just getting mad at them for silly little things. Like,
Which, if I've never thought growing up, if I was in their shoes, would I like that? No, I've never thought of being in
Why
their
would you
shoes or
think
their
that?
perspective.
Well,
But,
especially
yeah.
as like an older sibling, like you're the oldest. You think that you know what it's like and that
Totally.
you figured it out. So let me just help them and tell them what
Yes.
to do.
no, 100%.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I
That's
really enjoyed seeing like Avery's relationships with both
Yeah.
Bonnie and Lucky, but just as a whole, probably Bonnie Bonnie and Lucky's relationship with each other.
Yeah.
Bonnie the peacemaker.
Yeah. Seriously.
Literally, like the peaceful giant. Like she just is so, yeah. Anyways, so I don't know if that started another question or not. But
Well, no, yeah, I was gonna ask Chloe. Then, who did you identify with most of the sisters?
I honestly don't know.
I honestly don't know who I would say for you
I
either.
kind of didn't really see myself in many of them.
Maybe
I would say
Nikki.
Nikki.
That's what I was going to say.
You probably.
I was gonna say Nikki
But
too.
it's hard because we didn't really see a lot of her.
We saw her from other people's
like,
perspectives.
I
Correct.
guess one thing that I would think about Nikki, I don't know if this is what you say about me, but like people pleasing.
Yeah.
That is definitely how I view myself. Kind of like not being who other people want me to be, but like I am always thinking about how I'll be perceived.
Yeah.
And how if other people will like get along with me. And that is obviously Nikki like giving away her Spice Girl shirt.
Yes.
And
yeah.
Lucky being like, what the heck? She's like, what are you doing? I get it. I get what she's saying.
Okay, you're Nikki.
Oh, so I'm gonna die.
Okay, not like
No.
that. Jeez.
Yeah, but that's probably. But I don't really know.
I mean, none of them like screamed any one particular, but yeah, I would
We're
say
probably
you probably
all a
most,
mix. I think everyone probably has a mix
for
of all of
sure.
them.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I don't have any of the Pavel gene in me.
True.
The like 40-year-old man.
Well, you're married, so you're
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, well,
I thought you were-
let's talk about that real
Okay.
quick. So,
Yeah.
Avery, for those of you who maybe are still listening and haven't read the book, Avery, the oldest sister who's like a lawyer, so she marries her therapist who's a good 10 12 years older than her.
Yeah,
know if
right.
it's
I don't
that
remember how
big
much
of a
it was,
gap.
but she was a little
It
older.
I think it's 7 years.
Okay, so around 7
Older.
10 years, yes.
Yeah.
Older.
Yeah.
And then Bonnie like falls in love with her trainer, who, keep in mind, she met when she was 15 and he was like
14
He's-
even.
He's 10, like 11 years or 12 years older than her.
so
I
he
think.
was in his 20s and she was 15.
Yeah,
Keep in
12
mind, now
years.
she's like 30.
Yeah,
so
she's
it's
31.
yeah.
I think.
And
yeah,
he's
so-
40.
But he's in his
Something.
40s, and anyways, they end up together. They are like
With a child.
and then,
Yeah.
yes, they have a child when she's 40.
Ending.
Also,
Yeah.
everyone saw that name coming, right?
Yes.
my gosh,
baby.
Yes.
Also,
We
the
couldn't
fact that she was
decide
going
on
to
the
have a
name,
kid.
but yes.
Yeah.
Also,
Also,
I'm
the fact
like,
that
we
she
had
was
another name, but it didn't feel right. I'm like, you didn't have Nicole? Was it your original name? I'm confused.
Yeah. Anyways, so and then Lucky is never in a relationship and is just having sex with random people. all the
Guys
time.
and girls.
Lucky
Yes.
is, dude. I feel
kinda
bad
liked
for her.
I
did
liked her
too.
too. I don't know about you guys. In my head, I pictured Suki Waterhouse.
Oh, I was gonna say Cara
from-
Delevingne.
Oh.
I pictured Suki Waterhouse from Daisy Jones and the Six.
That's funny.
Anyways,
I thought you
And they
were
kept
gonna
talking about her bleach blonde, like short hair, and I did not want to picture that. I was like, I'm
Oh.
going to give her cuter hair.
say- Wait, did I?
I know.
I thought bleach blonde shorter hair.
No, it was like short, I
Oh.
believe. Like,
Oh,
I'm
I was not
excuse
picturing
me,
it a
short.
pixie
No,
cut.
I was imagining like Suki Waterhouse hair.
Yeah.
Just like
for
long
some reason,
blonde.
I thought it was a pixie cut, but I find that a lot of the times when they describe someone, I don't really pay attention enough to like picture them correctly in my head.
Yeah.
funny.
Well, I didn't find out Magnolia Parks was black until
Oh, yeah.
a few books in. But whatever.
So, those relationships though are very cognizant of and representative of the relationship with like their parents and especially their dad.
Yes.
Because he was addicted to alcohol and was very abusive. And I don't know. I thought that was interesting where both, the only two daughters that are in a relationship are in that type of relationship.
Yeah. Very interesting. I will have to say, I think part of the reason why I didn't connect like as much with this book is because I mean, everyone struggles with something, but I don't have anyone like close to me in my life that struggles with like an alcohol or drug addiction, which I know there's other addictions mentioned in the book, like workaholic type things.
Yeah.
But there was a huge like
That was a very big thing.
two of the
Yes.
four sisters struggled, and one of the and Nikki died.
Three
from,
of them.
from
And
drugs.
Nikki died from drugs.
Yeah. So I thought that's why I wasn't connecting as much, but I don't know if you guys felt that at all.
And I guess I did think about that too. It's like I don't have anyone super close to me that has struggled either, but that could be a representation of any addiction as well.
Totally.
Is what I was thinking about, but
But that's why I feel like
I kind of agree.
It did make me okay, I will say this with addiction, with like just familial relationships in general with my sisters. It did make me reflect a lot, which I really liked. I also related to Avery with her relationship with her mom and just like not really expressing how she feels a lot of the time and just like keeping trying to make everyone get along. And just like, okay, everything has to be okay. And so I thought that was interesting.
When you were talking about that, one thing that I did like about Avery, eventually her like coming to terms with what she wanted and like actually like doing that.
Yes.
In terms of her relationship and like her future, like the kids thing.
I'm glad she told Chitty. And then I'm like, it was so interesting that Avery cheated on Chitty with a man. And then she like is like, Mom, I'm a lesbian. Like I will never be with a man. I'm like, then why'd you...
I know. Mr. Charlie?
Yes. Like, what the freak, bro?
She just wanted to escape. Like, she just...
Yeah.
Any, like, to, like, run from her problems.
Which was...
He was available.
Yeah.
I don't know.
One thing that I also liked reading from their different perspectives is how they all had different, like, views and opinions on Nikki.
Ooh.
And they all kind of saw her differently, and they all had different relationships with her. So they were, like mourning the loss was also different for each of them, which I like to see because that is true. Like when you think of your siblings and like also their relationships with each other, like everyone, you grew up and had very similar experiences, but we all have very different relationships with each of our family members, which
so
was cool to
interesting.
read about through them and how they like saw her and like, yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I did not even like put that together. Like think about that. I think that's really interesting.
And it was cute to hear their like memories of her too.
Yeah.
And like I also really liked the scene where they get the refrigerator.
Oh my gosh, I know.
That was funny. Like, and then like, and of course, Lucky, like the youngest sibling's like, we need to bring it with us. Like, we have to. Avery, no, we're not doing that. And then Bonnie, just help us carry it. Like, it is so representative of like a group of siblings.
Yeah. Totally.
The oldest and the youngest and middle dynamic.
And then also in the epilogue, Avery having the pink fridge in her apartment.
Oh, I didn't even realize that.
Yeah.
I did not catch on to that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I thought you were going to talk about the pink flowers.
Oh, yeah. And they brought the pink flowers.
Yeah, that was cute. That's kind of what I was saying earlier. Like, I did appreciate this book for how it made me reflect on my own life.
Totally.
And it was really good. And that's why I think it was very January-esque, too, because January is very much a time of reflection.
Goal
So it's really-
setting.
yes. Yeah, really interesting.
I kind of want to touch on also, I guess, with that aspect of it, where they each started and how they each ended in the book. Because
for
that was
sure.
satisfying. I think that's why I liked the end the most, is because things kind of felt like they were happening / resolving.
For sure. I mean, it picks up exactly a year to the day from when their sister Nikki passed away. And like, they are all like as down as you can be.
It's so bad.
Like in their own respective ways.
Yeah.
You know, from the outside, someone seeing Avery would be like, oh, she's in the prime of her life.
Yeah,
she's got this
great.
big, nice job. She's in this awesome marriage.
Beautiful house.
Yes. Whereas like
they're about to start a family. Like, she's doing so good.
Whereas like inside, she's like actually dying.
Yeah. She's like avoiding her relationship.
Yes.
And like,
and then you look at Lucky, and from the outside, you're like, oh, she's a wreck. And on the inside, she's as well too. And then Bonnie is
shutting everything out.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. And so I think, seeing that like resolution in all of their lives and all their different stories and like how they get there is really cool to see.
Do you guys have a favorite? Sorry, what were you saying, Mace?
No. Ask that.
Do you have a favorite of like whose story, where we started and ended? Or what one was the most satisfying?
Most satisfying?
That's a good question.
I think to me would be Avery.
Really?
Yeah. But favorite, Lucky.
See, and I would say Bonnie.
That's so funny.
Is my favorite. Like, I feel like I love that. Even though I don't love her and Pavel, I'm glad that she found love and was able to find feelings. Because I was just thinking about the importance of or like how bad it can be to not address your emotions in the moment when something traumatic happens, and how that can carry throughout your life if you just have it boiling up, and how that can result in like you making worse decisions. Like the longer you wait, I feel like the worse like the outcome will be,
right?
If you don't address your feelings and traumas
totally
at that time, which I think we see with people in our own lives whether it's from addiction or not.
Yeah.
I think one of the reasons why I really liked Lucky's was she's not perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like she was still smoking a cigarette the morning her sister gave her.
She was like back to drinking again. Like she was only 60 days sober. 60 days sober. What, like 10 years later or something?
Yeah, it was 10 years later.
And like clearly, like it just shows that like she, I don't know.
She's
like,
still working towards it.
She's working towards it, and like maybe it's not where she thought she was gonna be, but like also she's like famous.
Yeah,
and, like a singer or whatever, which I thought was so fun.
Yeah, then the scene of them forcing her to sing in the bathtub was
so funny.
It was so funny.
Also so relatable. Like you make your siblings do anything. Like stop being weird, just do it.
Yeah, yeah. No, 100%.
That's so true.
Yeah,
that's funny.
But yeah, I think that's what I really enjoyed about Lucky's story was it was so like real, where it's like, okay, you know, she had this big like breakthrough with her sisters, and you just think everything's gonna be so amazing and awesome. And like in some aspects of her life it was, but not in all of them.
And I guess to touch on Avery, one thing I liked about her relationship is she started in a relationship and she ended in a relationship, but she was like so different. I felt
totally.
And like was able to say what she wants and like how she feels about her future. And like with the kid thing, one thing that like kind of struck me when she was explaining it too, I don't remember if it was Chitty or she talking to her mom about it. I don't really remember who. And she was like, I don't want kids. Like, I just raised 3 kids, like, my whole life. Like, and being able to come to terms with that and be, like, okay with that and, like, voicing that, like, that's pretty hard.
Oh, 100%.
Especially when you've been with someone for so long and, like, you've built up, like, this, what you think your future's going to be like. And, like, you come to terms with that's not what you want.
That would be so hard.
Yeah.
No. I feel bad for both her and Chitty.
I feel so bad for
Chitty. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Avery did her so dirty. I feel so bad.
She did. She really did. Cheats on her and then comes out with, and I don't want to make this work right because I can't have kids, you know?
And one thing also, like, with their, like, struggles, I remember reading it and the scene where she, like, they have their talk and like then they go and they still sleep in their bed together and like hold each other all night.
Yeah.
The next morning Chitty's gone. And it's so true because she's like, I don't want to get rid of this. Like this is gonna be so sad. But then she's like, okay, this isn't real life. Like this is not good for me or for Avery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sad.
Another moment, and which is why I liked the ending so much, that I really appreciated just because I've had it in my own life with my siblings, was when they all were admitting to each other like what they had done, why they had been struggling, because they were not talking or like openly communicating, and realizing that you weren't the only person that doesn't have your life together.
Yeah.
And you think your siblings do. Like Lucky for sure thought that she was just like like the only one, like, you know, out of it. But then like Avery's like, yeah, so I cheated on Chitty, and they're like, what?
Yeah.
And then Bonnie's like this, and then Lucky's like, I did this, and they're like, what? I thought that was
I
funny.
think sometimes you can definitely just feel caught up in your own life, your own struggles, and think everyone else has it together, they have it easy, and it's like, oh my gosh, I'm just like screwing everything up.
Yeah.
Well, also like her younger sisters, Avery's younger sisters, like they want to see the best in her because like she raised them.
Yeah, true.
And it's
like,
more like a role model
in
figure,
a way. Yeah, she totally is. I think one of the like stories that really got me was at the end. I don't know if her mom told her this or she just remembered after meeting with her mom, but like there was a really bad day where like her dad was like really like destroying everything, and her mom went to Avery and gave her the credit card and was like, take them and leave.
Yeah.
And Avery said that like, you know, she was just a teenager, but she like left the house and like she didn't know where they were going, but like all of her younger sisters trusted that she knew.
And they were
like
just walking.
they were just like walking, and they ended up like going to a park and like getting dinner or something.
Yeah.
But like Avery was like terrified in that moment because she's like, oh my gosh, like they're mine. And they came back and like everything looked, you know, was put back together, and their mom dinner was dinner, and like, you know, it was just very like Avery kind of saw like the realness of it, and like they didn't. And so like from the very beginning she was protecting her, whether she wanted to or not. She was protecting her younger siblings, her sisters, and like they wanted to just see the best in her, not that she's, you know, a normal person with faults just like them, because they all got their faults.
Yeah. One thing I also liked is kind of the themes a little bit of like girlhood and like being a girl. And one thing I highlighted was when they were at the concert when they all went to the it was Spice Girls, right?
Yeah.
They went to the Spice Girls concert, and it's like talking about the concert was 3 hours of heaven. All of them screamed, singing the words to every song, along with thousands of other girls, lifted together on a tide of riotous, unapologetic joy. That feeling to be a girl with other girls was not some weakness, as they had been told, but a power, the best and luckiest power on earth. And it's so true.
That's a
like
good one.
to be like that, concerts are a good representation, I feel like, where everyone is just having so much fun and like not a care in the world, like,
Yeah.
and that
I
I
love it.
love that like image, I guess, and that they like reflected on this story too and saw it as like a special thing that they all like shared together, which was fun.
That one's fun.
I'm like the Air story.
No, literally, that was my thought as you were explaining that. I was like, oh my gosh.
Stop. That's cute. There's another quote that I really liked. Can I read it? It was more in the beginning, but it's when obviously when Avery and Shitty were together, but it says Avery had previously thought love was built on large visible gestures, but a marriage turned out to be the accrual of ordinary, almost inconsequential acts of daily devotion. Washing the mugs left in the sink before bed, taking the time to run up or downstairs to kiss each other quickly before one left the house, cutting up an extra piece of fruit to share. Acts easy to miss, but if ever gone, deeply missed. And like, I have not experienced grief from like an actual death of someone close to me, super close to me like that, but it's like, oh my gosh, thinking of in my own marriage, I'm like, it's so true, because I'm always like flattered when Nick does something like grand or big for me, but it really is like the little things, like waking up and he's like has done the dishes or whatever, and you're like, that's how you show you truly care. Because if he wasn't doing all those things but then just would like come in with these grand gestures, it's like not actually like caring as much consistently, if that makes sense. And I was like, oh, that's so cute and true.
I did like that too. They were cute, well, for a little bit.
They are cute. Well, it lasted.
No, I think that's also one of my favorite parts about the book, though, is just those like one-liners.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we had talked about this in our predictions. Like in the very beginning, it's the author's describing like Bonnie.
Yes, the ice one.
Yes, and she's the boxer, and like it was describing her as gentle and how she like never has to bang the ice cube tray on the counter or whatever to get the ice cubes out. And it's like, oh my gosh, like just the imagery and the way that she would describe some things, I was kind of at a like loss for words at times, because there was just these little nuggets where it's like, oh my gosh, like that was such an interesting way of like describing this or whatever. But yeah,
totally.
I liked that part of the book.
Yeah. I guess one more quote I also wanted to talk about. We didn't really touch on grief yet. That's
my gosh.
obviously a huge aspect of the book, because
Probably
they're
the
all
biggest
grieving.
aspect.
Yeah.
And this is when Avery is talking to Chitty, and they're talking about
Oh, this conversation
Nikki.
was really good.
and how basically she's like, they're having their like pretty much goodbye talk, and she's saying I'm sorry, and they're also talking about Nikki and how she misses her. And I guess Avery kind of goes off and she's saying how much she misses her, and she's waiting for the feeling to end, but there's no end, and I have to accept that like it's gonna be like this forever. And then she says, but when I try to talk to her in my head, there's no response. I can't hear her, I can't feel her. All I have is this missing, and part of me is glad it won't end, because it's all I have to connect me to her now. And that is so sad. Like
So
I haven't
sad.
experienced, I guess, a lot of people super close to me like passing away or being gone or whatever, and having like grieve that relationship and like missing them. But like as she was saying, it comes to a point where all you have left is like the longing you have for them, and it's like, well, you don't want that to be gone, because then they truly feel gone.
Totally.
And it's like, oh my gosh.
That's so true.
Yeah.
I didn't catch that when I read that, like how nicely worded that was.
Yeah. It's
That's
like
true.
sometimes you could see like the positives of going through something super hard and like missing someone, because at least you get to miss things about them.
Totally. 100%.
It's like the thing, it's like, don't cry because it's over, smile because it happened. And like obviously not to this level, but
No, totally.
but I do like what she was saying about that.
Yeah, no, it was and that's like a popular thing that like, not popular, but like common thing that people say when they've like lost someone, though, is like, if you take the pain away, then you're also taking away all the really good memories.
Totally.
And it's like that like are the reason for your pain in the first place. And like you don't want to take that away. And like what a beautiful thing it is to love someone like that much, where it hurts so much to lose them.
Yeah.
Totally.
Which is like evident throughout this whole entire book.
Yeah.
And like displayed in different ways through different people who had different relationships with Nikki. And even Chitty talks about it, like, in that conversation that she has with Avery about how she's like, I'm grieving her too. Like, just because you were her sister, like, and I was her sister-in-law, like, I'm still grieving her. Anyways, it's very, I don't know. Yeah. It can cause a lot of different, like, conversations of, like, grief and how everyone goes through it differently and experiences it in different ways, which is very evident in all of their lives.
And it kind of makes me think of them talking about the funeral and how there were a bunch of people there, and Lucky just being like why the frick do they get to cry? She's like, what the heck? She's like, they don't even know her, like, and it is true because, like, you know your family, like, so well, and, like, Lucky kind of probably felt, like, entitled to have that grief. She's like, I'm losing my, like,
with Nikki too.
She's like, I'm losing, like, my best friend, like, we shared a bedroom all growing up and everything. She's like, this random guy that she, like, went on a date with, like, you do not understand. Which is kind of funny.
That is true.
Yeah, but I liked it. And I was kind of talked on this a little bit at the beginning, how it's a good, like, January book, kind of, I think. Like, seeing where they start and seeing how much can change for each of them. So, and that's definitely something that people think about a lot, like, in the beginning of the year. Like, what are my goals? What do I want to achieve this year? How do I want to change?
Yeah. I think overall, this wouldn't be, like, my first book I would recommend to people, being like, this book I just read was amazing. But if people are looking for books for grief or just, like, reflection purposes, I think this was a good one. And I heard her Coco Mellors' other book, Cleopatra and Frankenstein, is really good.
Yeah.
So
I haven't read it.
I think I might want to read that in the future.
But yeah, no, I think I would say the same thing. It's not something that I would overly recommend to people, but given certain situations or in circumstance, I totally would.
And I'm not mad I read it, even though it was pretty slow.
Yeah,
like, I did enjoy it.
Yeah, it was slow.
I'm like, where's the fighting?
Yeah.
Where's the creatures?
Yeah, because
where's like the
chapters,
enjoyable kissing scenes?
I was gonna say, I think that's also part of the reason why it was so slow to me was I was in the middle of rereading Fourth Wing, the whole series,
that's
and, like,
hard too.
Something's happening every single chapter, maybe a little too much in that series, where there's literally a new, like, journey, mission, whatever, every single chapter, and, like, this book, you're just in the inner monologues of all the different sisters.
Yeah.
And it is so slow.
It was pretty slow. Also, if you're reading physically, the chapters are like 50 pages long.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. They're all long. Really, and there's only like 12 chapters in the whole book.
Yeah.
But the book wasn't super long. It was like 330 pages or something like that.
Yeah.
It wasn't too long.
Felt a lot longer.
It did feel longer, but anyways, any other last minute thoughts?
No, I liked it though. My favorite thing was definitely the siblings relationships.
Yeah.
It was like cute and fun and like drama and like real life, but so I liked it.
Well, yeah, one of my favorite things to do after I finish a book, or even sometimes when I'm in the middle, is I'll look up because instead of getting spoilers on TikTok, I'll go on Pinterest and I'll look up the book and say, like, aesthetic.
Yeah. Did you do that for this book?
Yes, and I'll have to send you guys some of the pins that I found. But there was just different collages where I was like, oh, wow, like, I don't know, it just kind of encompassed everything really, like, well and cute, and I was like, okay, this book is good.
Yeah. It gives it the full experience when you look at the visuals. I agree.
Yay.
Well, that was good. I'm glad we picked that. We have our February book club pick, and of course it's the month where Valentine's Day happens, so we did choose a romance. Who wants to
It was
share?
kind of not hard, but we're trying to pick a romance that none of us have read,
and that was the hard part.
And we read a lot of romance between the three of us, I would say, so that's why it was hard to find one, but I actually am excited about this one.
Me too.
Yeah, it is The Soulmate Equation by Christina Lauren, which is two authors.
Yeah. Two
I almost said the Spanish equation.
Oh.
I keep saying that about the Spanish deception. The Soulmate Equation. I've only read one other book by her, but I loved it. Love in Other Words.
Yeah.
I freaking love that book.
Yeah, that book is good.
Do one of us want to read the synopsis of it?
Yeah, we can. You want to read it?
Sure.
I've also read The Paradise Problem by them, which I've talked about, I think, a few times on here before, which I loved. So I'm excited to read this one. It sounds fun.
Okay. This is the synopsis. Single mom Jess Davis is a data and statistics wizard, but no amount of number crunching can convince her to step back into the dating world. After all, her father was never around, her hard partying mother disappeared when she was 6, and her ex decided he wasn't father material before her daughter was even born.
Oh.
Jess holds her loved ones close, but working constantly to stay afloat is hard and lonely. Okay, this is low-key sounding similar to the book that we just read. But then Jess hears about genetic ally, something like that. That's how it's worded. A buzzy new DNA-based matchmaking company that's predicted to change dating forever. Finding a soulmate through DNA, the reliability of numbers, this Jess understands. At least she thought she did, until her test shows an unheard of 98% compatibility with another subject in the database. Genetically's founder, Dr. River Pena. This is one number she can't wrap her head around because she already knows Dr. Pena. The stuck-up, stubborn man is without a doubt not her soulmate. But genetically has a proposition. Get to know him and we'll pay you. Ooh. Jess, who is barely making ends meet, is in no position to turn it down despite her skepticism about the project and her dislike for River. As the pair are dragged from one event to the next as the diamond pairing that could launch Genetically's valuation sky high, Jess begins to realize that there might be more to the scientist and the science behind a soulmate than she thought.
Wait, that's so cute.
I'm excited. That was a
too.
very long synopsis. I
I was gonna
apologize.
say, I feel like I read the whole book, but I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
No,
low-key.
I mean, like, we now know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, thought that we didn't before.
Yeah, true. But I'm excited, and we're excited for you to read with us.
Yes.
Get in
So-
the Valentine spirit. A little romance in your life.
Yes.
The best.
Yeah.
Is
And
there?
keep in mind, February is a shorter month, so
It is. So get on
only
it.
a couple weeks.
Yep.
It's not too long. You can do it.
Well, go follow us on YouTube if you haven't yet, or TikTok since it's back. If you haven't deleted the
yeah.
app off your phone, have you heard people have been selling their phones for like $10,000
Yes.
with TikTok,
With
on,
TikTok
it?
on it?
Yeah,
If
crazy.
it's a real thing, if there's buyers, I
I'll
will be
sell
selling my
mine.
phone.
I have it on my
So
iPad.
fast. Yeah, I will be selling all of my devices. But if you still have TikTok, follow us. Follow us over Instagram.
Instagram.
And read
Podcast.
our February book club book. with
Yes.
us.
Well, I read The Soulmate Equation.
Yeah,
by
yeah.
Christina Lauren. And with that,
See you next episode. Bye.